it's your girl! And right now, we are living in the very era of horny goodness. If this was the Chinese New Year's year on the year, this would be the year of the cock. I have a very mature sense of humor. Technology is becoming even more advanced for you horny sex pests, with sex dolls that actually have personalities, masturbation toys that you don't even need to touch to get you off. Eroge is now more than just a Newgrounds flash game called Meet and F. And now even VR is allowing you to touch and be with your waifu while she's jacking you off, while simultaneously telling you that you're not alone, while you kind of silently cry to yourself knowing that she's just pixelated and is totally fucking lying to you. And all of that is well and good, but especially for men. Because not only that, but hentai is still mostly geared towards men, and really, hentai geared towards women and men is still eons behind. Sure, there is more of it now. It's not like I'm starved, okay? But there's nearly not as much. Girls get a bit frisky in their britches too, okay? Listen, we might not get an AI sex doll, okay? But Lord knows we could use a little more diversity in our hentai! I'm a woman, I love hentai, but I also really love hentai that has more elements besides a guy just kind of getting off, you know, with a girl. You know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to explain it. Sometimes your girl needs a little bit of romance, a little bit of change. And that's why I'm very happy to announce the sponsor of today's video, mangaplaza. Now, mangaplaza is a website that has official English translated manga. With not just smut, but with a wide variety of genres such as action, horror, and sports, as well as a lot more. They even have some really famous titles such as Blue Lock, Parasite, and even one of my favorites, Wakakozake. And that's just to name a few. But today we're only going to be focusing on the adult section of mangaplaza, especially the titles that are geared towards men and women. Now, I picked 2 titles to review and recommend, as well as one that you guys voted for on my Twitter that you wanted me to review. Now, although these titles are mostly framed towards women, they can definitely be enjoyed for both men and women. And during my reviews, you're going to see why I say that, okay? Just listen to my reviews, and I can assure you, there's gonna be one thing in one of these titles that you're gonna be like, man, woman, whatever you identify as, you're gonna want to read it, okay? Just sit back, relax, because we're starting strong. Now, the first title I'm gonna be reviewing is quite a long one, and it is called The Obsessed Mage and His Beloved Statue Bride. She cannot resist his seductive voice. And Jesus Christ, I've read this even before this video, you know, right when I saw it on their website and they were like, oh, which titles would you like to review? I'm like, say less, that one, because I am a fan. I love. I literally love yandere men, or obsessive love men. I love them. I love it, especially in hentai. Do not judge me. I'm allowed to judge you, but never me. It is one of my all-time favorite tags. Cannot get enough. And if you also agree, then you're gonna really love this one. So the story begins with a young mage called Lala Bradley. Or like, Pradley. What kind of fucking name is who, after many attempts, finally was able to join the Mages Association, which is just an association that helps their country's government and whatever help they can need with their magic and all that. And after finally getting into the Mages Association, Lala's first job is to ward off dragons that are trying to get into their city. And she's meant to fight off these dragons with her young apprentice called Alistair. Alistair, a boy she rescued from his very unstable magic and kind of raised. He's a super powerful mage. She was born with this ability, and she wanted to help him, you know, learn to keep it under control. So the both of them go to this dragon and they start to fight it, but it becomes pretty obvious right away that they're too weak to fight against this dragon and they're not going to make it. Lala decides to divert the dragon's attention away from Alistair, just sacrifice herself so Alistair can get away. While Alistair is being taken away, Lala gets eaten, and then we all just... it just goes all to black. So then the next panel, we see that Lala actually wakes up in this random chapel covered in like these really beautiful jewelry and like it's wearing this really beautiful dress, and she's not sure what just happened, because we find out that before she gets eaten, Lala decided to use a spell that transforms her into a statue, and she just kind of lived in that dragon's stomach for years, just living there. So years later, after Alistair becomes a powerful mage, he decides that he needs to defeat this dragon, and through defeating this dragon, he sees that his previous master, the person he apprenticed for, turned into stone. And that stone spell lasted for 20 years. She was a statue for 20 years. And he safeguarded that statue, just waiting for his master to return. And it becomes pretty obvious right away that Alistair was always in love with Lala. Even when she was a stone statue, he would talk to her every day, and he just refused to ever leave the statue's side. So now that Lala is no longer a statue and Alistair can finally profess his love to her, and he's an adult grown man, things start to become a little more subtly sexy between the two of them. Sparks begin to fly, but there are some issues in their growing relationship, because although Alistair is now in his mid-30s, Lala still remembers him as being her young apprentice. Now, from this point on, I'm telling you, this is some goddamn hot stuff, okay? And one of the hottest things about it, one of the most delectable fucking things, and I don't even know what I need to say. I'm sure you guys probably heard it right in the description, is that Alistair longed for her for so long. He was like every day waiting, like he didn't even know she's gonna come back. He just was like waiting. And now that she's back, you know, all this love and subsequently probably horniness, it just flows out of him. I mean, he waited so long just to confess. And even though he feels these things still need to happen kind of slowly because, you know, she finally just came back. But it's that slow burn that's like, oh, it's good. I love it. It's so sexy and romantic the way they slowly open up to each other. Nonetheless, begin to slowly touch each other sensually. Oh my god, it is so... It sounds so cheesy to say, but it's heartwarming, it's delectable. More than anything, it's goddamn f***ing sexy. It's making me frisky just thinking about it. His longing is so f***ing hot! His head is only filled with her and what she could potentially want or need. A man thinking about you. Oh my god. It's getting too hot in here. But because he's a bit obsessive and waited so long, he's very lightly forceful too, which just adds that little, you know, row. He waited so long and she's slowly reciprocating and it's just... Any sort of thing that they actually successfully finally manage to do, it's so powerful and passionate and just... I need to describe more. I need to get off that moment for a minute. Now, Alice, before Lala transformed into a statue, he was like a sort of youngish kid. He was very arrogant and very bratty, but now as an adult, he's a very refined, elegant man who's a powerful mage. He's handsome and charming, talented, yet modest. He is the prince in every hentai girl's fantasy. And although he is just so amazing, he can also be pretty fucking weird. But like, there's one scene in chapter 2 or 3 where he just randomly admits, he's just like over the past 20 years, I'd like lick the statue of you. I just lick it all. I just lick it. And it's like, it's just... Okay? Here's a little taste of yandere/obsessive love. A little cringy, a little weird, but you know, I'm here for it. And I don't even know if it needs to be said, but the writing in this is one of the strongest points, which is something you very, very rarely hear anybody say about a smutty manga. Because even though it's kind of labeled as a smutty/hentai, it's not really either. Even though there's been several chapters, they never have had sex yet. And I actually really adore that because in every other smutty manga, when they kind of just like have sex every chapter and it's just kind of more about the act rather than the characters and the storyline, it's pretty repetitive. Also, like the current story, like the stories kind of switch off. Like some of the story is like the main storyline of when she finally stops, like she becomes not a statue anymore. And the other storyline is essentially the past before she became a statue, and we learn more about the past themselves as well as the current themselves. So learning all about these characteristics from the characters, that makes the sensual scenes that much hotter. It makes it feel that much more delectable, melting in your mouth, kissalicious. And one of the other best things about this is that we get to see both perspectives of the characters. We don't just get to see through Lala's eyes, but we also get to see what Alistair's thinking as well, like what he wants to do, what he's perceiving the whole situation as, which is again one of the reasons why I think this is really good for both men and women, because it's both perspectives. And it's also because of that we get to see how their feelings towards each other begin to eventually change. The sexual progression in the obsessed mage is very slow, and actually nothing sexual happens until like a few chapters later, which is nice. You know, once again, we get to see the characters for who they are, what they're feeling, kind of focus on that rather than sort of the spicy bits first. Now, the art is super great. I'm gonna give you guys a little fact about myself here. For the longest time, I've never found men, anime men, with long hair at all attractive. I always just thought like, you know, get the f away from me, you know, ew. It was after I started reading this one that I find, oh my god, long hair anime men so fucking sexy. I used to hate anime men with like ponytails on, but slap a ribbon on that bitch and I'm fucking sold, baby. He even has nipples, guys. This motherfucker has nipples. They also drew Lala's breasts very supple, and I love that. They even added the detail of the slight little brightness on the areola, okay? It was the perfect size proportion of the areola to the titty, and they even added a little brightness to it, and it's just all the while her breasts are still visibly perky. Like, come on. I'm telling you guys, I'm screaming to you right now, it is the perfect marriage of nipple and boob. Now, I've been yammering on about it for ages. I really love this one. In the end, it is a high recommendation that you would not regret. I fucking promise you. Like, if you even slightly think one thing I said about this even sounds slightly interesting, you need to read this bad boy. It's still ongoing and fairly new. This is not something you're gonna want to like unzip your pants waiting to like get hard and rock off to. It is a very big, it's a slow burn, but it is a sassy slow burn. Now the next title is called I'll Make a Mess of You Tonight in the Nurse's Office. And They do that all the time. I just jump right into the story of this one because I need you guys to know why I picked this little sassy bad boy right away. Now, the manga is about a teacher named Miyoko Tanaka who is seen as extremely uptight, very strict. She's a teacher that does not mess about. However, when she gets home, she opens up her very own notebook that is labeled as a cookbook, or what's it called again? She called it Snacks, which is, I'm guessing it's just kind of like a cookbook. However, when she opens it, we see 1,010,000 secret pictures she's taken of the school nurse, Shirohane, who has a very handsome and elegant appearance. The reason why she calls it Snash/cookbook is because, you know, she doesn't want people to know that she's taking secret pictures of this guy and obviously hiding it. And, you know, once she gets home, she kind of, you know, touches herself a bit to him, imagining him doing it. She's very obsessed and has a very massive crush on Shirohane. And she likes to take that notebook with her everywhere. But it's because she takes that notebook with her everywhere that it leads to a certain situation. One day at school, Shirohane decides to ask her for some, you know, tea after school, and she's like, sure. And then he sees, you know, her notebook in her bag. He just sees snacks. It's like, oh, I like cooking, don't you? And he just kind of grabs it out of her bag, like, okay, hello. And once he opens it, he pauses and obviously notices that it's all pictures of him. So she's freaking out, scared, and then he looks up and says, so you think I'm a snack? So she freaks out, runs away. Next day she goes to school, and Shirohane sees her and is like, bae, meet me after school in the nurse's office. We need to talk. We find out there that Shirohane has actually had a massive crush on her the whole time, and they decide to get a real bit busy. So begins the beginning of their blossoming love. Now, the storyline, I'm sure you guys could have guessed. It's exactly how it sounds. And you may look at this, especially the title, and be like, oh, it's just your typical smut, you know? It's not like, what's the appeal? Now, the appeal is, how many smutty mangas can you say have, first of all, a really good beginning to like the blossoming of their relationship, but also quite a heavy hand of comedy? I can't think of one personally. I can't think of one smutty manga that is just like a good 50-50 of smut and comedy. Like, for example, there is one chapter where a student working at the school wants to confess her love to Shirohane, and Miyoko's like freaking out because she's just like, oh, you know, I'm a strict teacher, I look kind of plain, and Shirohane's so hot. What if he finds that he has other options and doesn't want to be with me anymore? And she gets very jealous. So while still wanting to maintain her identity of being Miyoko, she decides to kind of like try and stop the student from confessing her love to Shirohane by dressing up randomly as a horse. Throughout the whole chapter, she's just dressing as a fucking horse. Even when she's like randomly at work, she's still dressed as a horse, and people are like, why are you doing that? And she's like, the only thing she replies is like, I'm a horse. Okay? And it's just like stuff like that. It's very random but incredibly entertaining. It's very cutely like randomly funny, but also I'll make a mess of you in the nurse's office. Even with a title like that, it's incredibly wholesome because as each chapter continues, it does show their relationship beginning to form and become deeper. And just like in any other new love, there are often misunderstandings. They go through real relationship troubles like wanting to make more out of their sex life or maybe having trouble keeping a boner. And these situations are definitely overly dramatic, shoujo-esque, but even though they still are realistic situations that normal people always have to go through. True issues that any couple goes through. Now, there's not many chapters released of this, and it is still ongoing, but if you're looking for some sauce, there is sex in every chapter. It is, you know, a continuous, like, growing of the relationship, both sexually and emotionally. So if that's what you're up for, if you're in the mood for that, you cannot go wrong. Now, finally, on to the last title, and it's the one that you guys voted for. It is called I'll Be My Husband's First. It is exactly how it sounds. So the story goes that Rin gets dumped by her boyfriend and decides to get wasted at a random izakaya. However, at this izakaya, she runs into her old university classmate called Ando. Now, Ando, who's always admired Rin, goes up to her and they begin to talk. As the night's winding down, he says, I think this is fate that we met again. Let's go out. But Rin said she was a bit hesitant. She's like, I don't know, you know, I just got out of a relationship. However, Ando didn't give up. He decided to write a contract that said, I will never cheat. I will always be true to you. I'll never make you sad. Stuff like that. So cute. It was so freaking cute that he did that. And that won Rin over, and they actually decided to just kind of skip the dating process and just go get married. Why not? So as you can tell, Ando is an extremely pure and straightforward guy, but it is because of that type of personality that he is still a virgin. So the story continues with both of them trying to have sex while trying to overcome Ando's purity and shyness, because it's because of that he has issues having sex. Now, before I talk any more about this manga, I need to talk about the dog! Oh my god, look how freaking cute that dog is! Pomia! The faces it makes is so freaking cute. Are you kidding? I don't even find real life Pomeranians all that cute, but then look at the little drawing I want that dog. I want to hold it and love it and be. I don't want to kill me, baby. Now, this is definitely a comedy. Like, for example, the husband and her will try to have sex, and before they, like, you know, he decides to take a shower, but the shower gets too hot and becomes dizzy, and, you know, they aren't able to do it, and he kind of just, like, falls over. But the other part of the manga is realistically how important sex is to a relationship, because not having sex can cause a lot of anxieties to happen, and they don't shy away from that. Anxiety is just like, now, if both parties want to do it but can't, anxiety is just like, are they gonna go cheat, go be with somebody else that can give it to them? Do they think I'm not sexy enough to want to continue with it? Or, you know, like, are they even happy? And one of the other things I can admire about this manga is the characters themselves. Like, Rin, the wife, never gets mad at Ando. She never gets, like, yells at him or, like, argues with him about it. She does get frustrated in private, which is completely fair, but she's constantly trying to think of ways to make him comfortable, trying to help him, you know, figure out how to do it with him while still maintaining comfortability. And he does want to do it. He wants to have sex with her. He just can't get over how pure and shy he is. Together, adorable, but separately, the characters actually kind of bothered me a little bit. It really captures how some people in a relationship, it shows the best of them, because separately, as characters, they definitely have a lot of faults that we see. Like Rin, for example, she would do things that always kind of irked me. Rin, although was justifiably frustrated, has her head in the clouds all the time, and because of that, she always lost her wedding ring. This might be a personal thing, but I could never lose my wedding ring, okay? You know, all it is just a promise to love and devote myself and cherish my husband. What about that, you know, all it is. But even if I did somehow have the personality to kind of like always lose things no matter how important they are, just wear a fucking necklace. Just put it on a necklace, bae. And I also find Ando really cute and pure. I really love his character. And he's also very frustrating because it seems like it's only Rin trying to figure out how to, like, you know, have sex, how to make this happen. Because yes, he keeps saying, I want to have sex, I want to do this, but he never really tries to figure out himself how to make himself do it. It feels like Rin is the only one trying to figure him out and try when, you know, it's him. But it's when they are together, they sit down and they talk, their best qualities of each other shine through. Much like how a real relationship is. And being able to see that in, like, writing or anything like that is just different. I've never seen that ever in any type of manga, seeing how true and realistic a relationship is when you're with your partner. Now, I knew from the beginning, getting into this, I was going to be getting a wholesome read, okay? You definitely aren't going to want to read this if you want even a slight bit of spice in your pants, because this is all about relationships. So you see the characters and you become invested in every single portion of what their relationship is. You see their downfalls, their, you know, how they go back and, you know, communicate and fix things, and you obviously are hoping throughout the whole time that they will finally overcome that massive obstacle of not having sex. And when they do, you're gonna be cheering and you're gonna be like so fulfilled and happy about it. You're gonna feel so happy that you won't even be enticed sensually. The art in this is incredibly sensible for the type of story it is, but the writing in this is the best part of it, without a doubt. It captures everything about what a relationship and, like, the kind of, like, troubles and, like, upfalls, downfalls, whatever. It's perfect. It's wonderful. I'm so happy you guys voted for this one. All of these titles and much, much, much more are on mangaplaza. Remember, mangaplaza is not just an adult website. They have manga from all different genres and all different categories. Some very, very popular titles as well. But you would be making a big mistake if you did not check out the adult section, but most of all, these titles that I just talked about. All links to mangaplaza are in the description. Please be sure to check them out. You really won't regret it. Thank you again to mangaplaza for sponsoring this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are thinking about supporting this channel, please go to my Patreon. Links are in the description, or type in patreon.com/Sydsnap. All the links are in the description, and thank you guys again.